taking a look at round 19 this week. We've got some great matchups coming ahead. We've had a lot of great success over the season, and I think it's been pretty good as far as our first season of the footy goes. Hard to believe that after this week, there's only a month of the season to go, trending into August soon. And then September will be here. We're mainly looking at the teams who are playing finals, so we'll do that today. Glad that you're here, glad that you're watching. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. It's a really free and easy way to help us grow this channel. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter as well. You can hear my voice that I'm kind of speeding through this. It's because I've actually already done this episode. However, the tech gods got me and I was not recording any sounds. That's a real bummer. But at least now I can be more efficient in what I'm talking about as well. We're going to be taking a look at 5 games today. We're going to be looking at the Bombers and the Crows at Marvel tonight, Friday Night Footy. We're going to be taking a look at the Hawks and the Pies at the MCG, Cats and the Dogs at Geelong, and then we'll take a look at the 2 Sunday games. It's Brisbane and the Swans, and then we'll finish in Perth with Freo and the D's. As always, never bet more than you can afford to lose, and this show is for entertainment purposes only, so we don't plan on making a huge amount of money, but we do like to be right, is what we're trying to get at. It is an entertaining show, so gamble responsibly.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Okay, we'll start with the Bombers and the Crows. Bombers are in an interesting spot here because they've been really trending down over the last several weeks. They've only covered the spread once in the last 8 weeks of footy, and I think that's been reflected in the games that they've been playing as well. Meanwhile, Crows, even though we know they're not going to play finals, they are actually trending up a little bit. Covered the spread the last 3 games, and I think they won all those games as well, if I'm not mistaken. And they've been scoring a lot more efficiently. Whereas Bombers have still been efficient, but they have a few issues in the backline at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if the Crows can take advantage of that, particularly if we start with the injuries. I might start with the Crows because Isaac Rankin, if he missed it during the week, he is suspended. He's not going to be back until round 22, so he won't be playing. We know that they lost Matt Crouch for the season. They lost Wayne Milera at the start of the season, for the season. Luke Pedlar, they lost for the season as well. And Josh Worrell is out with an arm injury as well. So that'll cause a few problems for the Crows, but Bombers are still favoured in this spot. I should probably let you know Bombers are favoured 14.5, and the over-under is 167.5. And then for the Bombers, their injuries, Darcy Parish has a calf injury. He's still a week or 2 away. And Zach Reid probably won't be back for the rest of the season at this point. So both teams are sort of 2 and 3 over the last 5 weeks. So it should be a crucial game for the Bombers. They need to win this. A lot of experts have Bombers making finals. I actually don't at this point, so we'll see how this goes. We'll start with disposals for the Bombers, and it's actually kind of interesting. If you want to get any value out of any of them, really, you actually have to look at the 25-plus touch mark, and that's because these Bombers midfielders, they've all been playing very, very well. First player we're going to look at, so he's got an over-under of 29.5. Last week, it's Zach Merritt. I've got to get better at saying the name first. Zach Merritt was 25 last week, 30 the week before that, and 23 the week before that. He's been sitting around 29.5 is his line. If you want him for 25-plus touches, it's at $1.30, so don't mind that. Other players we're looking at, so Nick Martin and Jai Caldwell and Sam Durham as well are the 3 players that I want to call out in this spot. So we'll start with Sam Durham, who last couple of weeks, if you want him for 20-plus touches, his over-under is sitting at 22.5. For 20-plus touches, you can get $1.42, so you have to buy, that's 3 touches, which I don't mind that value. 25 could be a bit of a risk. It's $2.60 for 25, so don't worry about that too much. Other one we're looking at, called out Nick Martin for 25-plus touches. He's $1.55 for that. 26 last week, 23 the week before that, and 27 the week before that. So this could be a good spot for them. I like the Bombers when they play at Marvel Stadium. Roof is closed. Conditions are pretty good for them, even though everyone in the crowd will be freezing cold. Is the way we're going to look there. And then the other one I sort of touched on a little bit, Jai Caldwell. $1.65 for 25-plus touches. He had 23 touches last week. 30 the week before that, 32 and 26. So don't mind that spot. $1.65 has been playing really well out of the half-back line and midfield into the forward line as well. Quite like that value. We look at anytime goal scorers for the Bombers. Well, he's kind of been a season-long favourite of mine, but Jade Gresham was still on him. $1.65 for anytime goal scorer. Realised he didn't kick a goal last week, but he's usually good for at least one goal a game. He's 13 goals from 29 shots a goal on the season. And that value, model likes him the best. And then the other one, we really have to acknowledge him at this point. He's been very good, and we haven't given him probably the credit that he deserves, but it's Matt Guelphy. He didn't score last week. He's usually good for at least one goal every week. He scored 2 goals about a month ago as well in both of these other games in round 14 and 15. So at $1.35 for anytime goal scorer, quite like him, 15 goals from 28 shots at goal in the season. So those are 2 really good options. You could go for Kyle Langford and Jake Stringer for 2 goals, but at this value, I think that this 1 goal is probably in a better spot as well. We'll cross now to the Saturday Arvo game. At the MCG, it's going to be between the Hawks and the Pies. Pies are now favourite, -1.5. It did open as a coin flip. The over-under is 166.5. And this is a huge game for both teams. This game could determine, because both teams want to get into the 8 to make finals, they need to win this game. And I think that once we get to round 24, a lot of people will be looking back on this is the game that either team should have won to make finals. So this should be really interesting. Weather in Melbourne's going to be cold, rainy, traditional football weather at the MCG. This should be a bit of a slugfest. I actually don't mind the under on the 166.5. I don't expect this to be a particularly high-scoring game. But we'll start with the Hawks for disposals. The one we want to start with that we've been looking at the most is, and he's playing absolutely amazing football, it's Dylan Moore. He did have a bit of a down game last week, but a few key Hawks players did as well. Last week was a really weird game for the Hawks. So 1, they played in Tasmania. 2, they played Freo, who's very strategically difficult team to bet against because they can go from being a really high disposal team to a really low scoring team, which is usually the correlation there. So it can be hard to bet. Plus, Sam Mitchell at one point moved James Sicily, who's been amazing for disposals, up into the full forward line. He started kicking goals, which was crazy to see. So few spanners were thrown in the works there. But Dylan Moore had 18 touches last week, 26 the week before that, and 29 the week before that. So you can get him at $1.50 for 20 plus touches. The other one that the model really likes is Jarman Impey is having a complete resurgence of a career at $1.65 for 20 plus touches. He had a 17 last week, so a bit of a down week, but 22, 26, and 21 the weeks before that. So quite like how he's been playing out of the half back line as well. Those are the 2 players I'm looking at. James Sicily is also interesting for betting under because his line will be sitting around 20.5, his over-under. And if Sam Mitchell feels inclined to move him to full forward again, that's where the disposals go under pretty much all the time. So I wouldn't even mind having a bet at James Sicily under 21.5 disposals. Anytime goal scorers for the Hawks, we'll talk about him at the start, but Jack Ginnivan is finally back, so we expect him to play in this game. He's usually good for a goal in each game that he plays. He is $1.33 to kick a goal in this game as well. We know that the Pies defense has been struggling a little bit at the moment, and he's 17 goals from 46 shots at goal. So really like that conversion rate there. Other one that we've been looking at, you could go Dylan Moore for anytime goal scorer, although you only get $1.18 because he's usually good for a goal a week there. But Nick Watson, mentioned him before. Nick Watson to score a goal. It's not amazing value. So he's $1.45 to kick a goal, and he's starting to do it a bit more often now. He scored last week against Freo. He didn't score the week before that, but he did score goals in each of his games the week before that. And I love this stat. He's 7 goals on the season from 33 shots at goal. So model likes him to start really converting more often. He hasn't had too many score involvements, but when he's been on the field, he has started to start to pick up momentum, start to pick up the pace a little bit. So we really like that. All right, disposals for the Pies. There's actually a couple of guys that we really like here. So if you want to put a little bit of, if you just want to throw someone on at the end of your ticket, Steel Sidebottom is probably the last chance you'll get him for 20 plus touches at $1.20. I think it's going to be interesting. He could start to lose value as it goes on. He has played really well in the last couple of weeks, 28 touches, 34 the week before that. So he's been okay out of the half-back line. But the ones that we want to look at, so it's Josh Dacos, and John Noble are the two. And then I know I said I was going to stay away from Jordan De Goey, but he still sort of interests me a little bit at 20 plus touches. He had 19 the week before last, but 24 last week. John Noble, he returned from concussion. He had 28 touches last week, and he's $1.37 for 20 touches. So really, really like that one as well. And Josh Dacos has actually been playing really well. So in his last 5 games, 23, 20, 20, 20, and 34. So at $1.35, he looks like he could be a good one as well. This strikes me as a big Nick Dacos game. And the reason I bring that up is because we're going to talk about anytime goal scorers now. He hasn't scored in the last 2 weeks. And then before that, he was kicking 2 goals a game. But Nick Dacos is 14 goals on the season from 31 shots at goal. And for an anytime goal scorer at the moment, he's $1.55. So Model likes him to kick a goal more so than most other players. The other one is Lockie Schultz is going to be out of this game. We talked about Patrick Lipinski last week stepping into that role, and he did do a good job. He did get that goal that we wanted him to get. But I actually think that Jamie Elliott is the go here. He's $1.22 to kick a goal, and he had 2 goals last week, and then he was injured all the weeks before that. So my money could be on that. Even if you wanted to go Jamie Elliott for 2 goals, could be interesting as well, because that's $2.15. So it's a bit less than 50-50, but good value there to be had on Jamie Elliott. I wonder when we'll ever see 2 goals for Jamie Elliott at $2 again. We'll take a look now at the Saturday night game. It's between my Cats and the Western Bulldogs. Should be a really, really good game. We've got the Cats a favourite, 12.5 at the moment, and the over-under is 168.5. So, I mean, both defenses have been giving up points in a lot of games, but both teams can score as well. So it should be an interesting game. Injuries for the Cats, main ones we've been looking at is Tom Hawkins. He's still 3 to 5 weeks away. Cam Guthrie is about 3 weeks away. We finally have a number on that with his Achilles injury. He has been a full participant in training, though. Tanner Bruin could be back. He had shoulder surgery only a few weeks ago, so that'll be interesting as well, because he's a key part of the offense. For the Western Bulldogs, injuries to Adam Treloar. He'll be a test. He was a game time miss last week, so that'll be good to see him back. Other one, Liam Jones, 1 to 3 weeks away. Jason Johannesson, 4 to 6 weeks away. James Harms, 2 to 3 weeks away as well. So a few injuries on the Western Bulldogs side of things. Aaron Norton should be back from his concussion, though, and similar with James O'Donnell. So we'll start with disposals. For the Cats, here's my sneaky favourite one. He's $2.10 for 20-plus touches, but Lawson Humphreys has started to come alive. He's one of these Cats players. This is the interesting things with Geelong is if you're a first gamer or a rookie player or a young kid and you start to hit the ground running, as Brian Myers did, as Brad Close did as well, you get a lot of game time. And Lawson Humphreys is off to a flying start in his first 3 games in AFL. 15 disposals, 17 disposals, and last week, 23 disposals. There's not a huge amount of value on the 15-plus touches. It's $1.23. But at 20, I know he's only done it once, but $2.10, it's not bad. And we know that the Bulldogs are a high disposals team that you can play against. So quite like that value there. There's actually quite a lot of value on the Cats in a lot of spots. Sam De Koning is $1.75 for 20-plus touches. He's had 22, 20, 21, and 20 the weeks before that. He started to play a lot more football. We've been betting on Jack Bowes each of the last 3 weeks, and he's come through each of the last 3 weeks as well. He's another young kid who's starting to get a lot more game time, sort of $1.31 for 20 touches. Love that. And then you sort of start to lose a bit of value on Tom Stewart and Max Holmes, but those are the main ways that I'm going to be looking at this game. You'd think someone like Tom Atkins would be getting more of the ball, but he's not, so stay away from him. Anytime goal scorers for the Cats, well, he's back up forward, and we've been betting on him every week since then at $1.45 for 2 goals. It's Jeremy Cameron. He's pretty much a lock at this point for 2 goals every week. I'm not going to go away from it. Just do it. Tyson Stengel is $1.80 for 2 goals. Not going to bet it. I realize he had 2 goals last week, and more often than not, he does kick 2 goals, but Jeremy Cameron is the way you want to play this, I think. And Shannon Neal as well is interesting. He's been playing the Tom Hawkins role, and he's been doing a very good job. He's anytime goal scorer, he's $1.27. Don't mind looking his way. He's been converting at a really high clip, though. So Model actually doesn't like him to score because it likes him to miss more often than not now. But 14 goals from 21 shots a goal, really high conversion rate. He's really hit the ground running. For the Western Bulldogs, there's actually not a lot of value or anything really worth playing here. We're going to have to go into the 25 plus disposals mark to really get anything of value. Bont is $1.35 for 25 touches, but 20 last week, 21 the week before that, 35 and 30. So you can see why he has these huge games, but it's just not really good value. Bailey Dale had a really good game last week with 31 touches, but he's been sitting around $1.35. He doesn't always get to the 25 mark, or if he does, he gets 25 in the last 5 weeks. So not great value there. Adam Treloar, more often than not, but he was missed last week. So it was interesting to see the way that those touches got dispersed around the rest of the team. So there's just not a huge amount of value to be had on Bulldogs and disposals. If we take a look at anytime goal scorers for the Western Bulldogs as well, it's also sort of similar. Jamari Ugle-Hagan, Model doesn't particularly like him to score, but he is usually good for a goal. So at $1.23, Sam Darcy is interesting as well. He's had 24 goals from 44 shots at goal on the season. So not too bad as far as conversion rate goes there. $1.30 to kick a goal. He's had 2 goals in the last 3 games. $1.35 to kick a goal as well as Marcus Bontempelli. He's usually been good for one. And we've been on Riley West every single week. Last week, he kicked 4 goals as well. So $1.35 for anytime goal scorer. I think he's probably going to be the best value for likelihood to score out of the half-forward line there. We'll finish up with the Lions and the Swans in Brisbane. This should be a really, really good game. 2 of the most informed teams. I mean, Lions are on a complete win streak at the moment. Swans have been down a little bit, but we're not going to rule them out. This one's at the Gabba. Lions are favoured -1.5. I believe that's how it opened as well. No, opened -2.5 for the Lions. So interesting to see the money come in on the Swans a little bit there. Over-under is 179.5 as well. So we're expecting absolute fireworks in this game, and it should be a really good game as well. If we take a look at injuries for the Lions, so we've got a few players still out for the season. Lincoln McCarthy, unfortunately, he was one of our favourite players to bet on as far as goal scorers went. He's done for the season. Charlie Cameron is suspended until round 22 as well, so keep that in mind. But Brandon Starcevic should be back from his concussion. He is a test. For the Swans, they've got a lot of players who are back now. So Luke Parker came back last week and Callum Mills came back last week, and they hit the ground running. Isaac Heaney was suspended last week. He'll also be back. So it's interesting to see how the Swans are going to play this as far as fitting all these star players into the lineup. Justin McInerney, he has injured himself though. He was also one of our favourite players to bet on, and I think he might actually be done for the season. So we're going to start with disposals for the Brisbane Lions, and we're going to have to start high as well. We're going to have to go for 25 plus touches, but at this rate, I think he's probably one of the best players to bet on. He's one of the safest bets. It's Lachie Neale. He's starting to return. He always has this second half towards the end of the season resurgence when he looks like he's a little bit down for the first half, but he just gets the job done. 27.5 is his line at this stage. It'll probably go up, I anticipate, because he's had 34, 38, 29 touches, 37 touches. So he's been a lock. But if you want him for 25 plus touches, you're not going to get too much value. If you want him for 30 plus touches, he is $1.60. And we did this last week with Nick Dacos, and it paid off. So I'm almost inclined to bet this 30 plus touches in this really high scoring game against a really, really good side. And they're at home in Brisbane as well. Don't mind that. If you want Josh Dunkley as well, $1.31 for 25 plus touches. He's had 26, 35, 32, 32 as well. So that's pretty good value as well. Dane Zorko has been playing a little bit down lately, so you're not going to get too much value on him. Similar with Hugh McCluggage, but Model really likes Hugh McCluggage as well. So you could look his way as well for 20 plus touches. There could be a little bit of value there. As far as anytime goal scorers go for the Brisbane Lions, so there's not a huge amount of people who are standing out. You could go Joe Danaher for 2 goals. That's $1.55, and he usually is good for 2 goals, especially with Charlie Cameron out. That is definitely worth considering as well. That's going to be a huge impact on their scoring. But Joe Danaher, 34 goals from 77 shots a goal. But you know who has really stepped up the last couple of weeks? particularly you would have noticed him last week against the West Coast Eagles. It's Kai Lohman, one of their young guys for the Brisbane Lions. Doesn't always get a huge amount of touches, but 21 goals from 41 shots at goal. And he is $1.35 for anytime goal scorer. And he's usually been good for at least one goal in the last couple of weeks as well. For $1.40, you can get Cam Rayner as well for anytime goal scorer. He's 12 goals from 19 shots at goal on the season, and he's usually good for one. So I like that value as well. But again, as mentioned, particularly with Charlie Cameron out. We'll finish up with the Swans now and disposals that we're going to be looking at. So interestingly enough, model really favors James Rowbottom at the value that you're getting him for 20 plus touches. You can get it at $1.42, and he's had 22. He had 18 the week before that, but then 23, 32, 21. So more often than not, he's been playing really well. Already mentioned Justin McInerney might not play in this game, so that means a few disposals could go to Rowbottom as well, but he's going to be up against like Callum Mills and Luke Parker and other players in sort of the mid to half forward line. The other one you could look at, Chad Warner as well. His line has been sitting around 23.5, and more often than not, he has been sort of going over that mark. So you can't really get too much out of 20 plus touches, but 25 plus touches, if you want to do that, he's $1.55. He's only done that last week though, so it's not great value. If anything, I'd be inclined to bet the line there, and I'm just doing the math now. He can't be 23.5 for the line because at 25 plus touches, he's still undervalued. So he must be up at around 26, 27 now. So maybe that is worth looking at. And Isaac Heaney, well, he's out of the Brownlow race now. Going to be interested to see how that affects his mood on the day. We're still going to see the star Isaac Heaney that we've seen all season. 25 plus touches is $1.65. He hasn't done it in the last 3 games he's played though. So bit of a risk there. We know that the Swans have been playing a bit down, but I expect fireworks in this game. So we'll see how that goes. And then anytime goal scorer for the Swans as well. We've been on Isaac Heaney to kick goals in most games this season. He's $1.40 to kick a goal. But I want to see, again, how does it shape up with Luke Parker and Callum Mills in the lineup? And how's that going to affect the overall system? Callum Mills did kick a goal last week in his return. Similarly with Luke Parker around. But the one that I actually don't mind looking at is Tom Papley. In these really big games, he kicked 4 goals last week. And for 2 goals, he's $1.90. Or you could go Joel Amati at $1.80 for 2 goals. But Papley, 4 goals last week, 1 goal the week before that, but then 2 goals and 2 goals again. So with this over-under sitting around 179.5, I think it's okay to make these bets on these 2+ goal kickers. I like Joe Danaher there. You could even look at Eric Hipwood if he steps into the Charlie Cameron role. Got to stop talking about that. But then also Papley as well on the other side of the ball. Joel Amati could be worth a look. I don't think all these guys are going to kick 2+ goals though. So just make your mind up about who you want to pick there. That's going to do it for another week of the footy. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you're still kicking around, please like and subscribe to this on YouTube. That really helps us out. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We're back up on TikTok. They tried to shut us down, but we're back up. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter as well. And leave a comment. Leave a review on Apple and Spotify if you're listening there as well. As mentioned, NFL season is right around the corner. We are sickos and we're going to be betting the preseason, Sully and I, so that's going to be really exciting. That's about 3 weeks away. Hall of Fame game's about 2 weeks away, so we're excited for that. Enjoy the footy this weekend. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye. I gotta bring it from now, baby. Gotta get some work done, baby. Gotta waste away the afternoon.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.